Take two. Hi, you guys. This is Tamara Williams, and I'm doing a speech on the president, for the president, Barack Obama. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Thank you for your hospitality, Miami. Many of you know me as Barack Obama, current president of the United States, father of 2 girls, husband to my beautiful wife, and best friend to others. But can I be completely honest with you this evening, Miami? Some individuals think I'm seasoned in this game of politics. They think I have an advantage over the Republican candidate Mitt Romney, since I've been in a few presidential debates and was fortunate enough to get elected as your president 4 years ago. The only thing is, I have no social or political advantage over the next man. I make mistakes too. If I had it all together, I promise you, my first name wouldn't be Barack. It's not that the experience doesn't help translate what I need to say in ways in which I need to say it, but I was never instructed on how to relate to the everyday man. That came from life. From growing up in Panahu Circle apartments with my grandparents in Honolulu, Hawaii, living in a modest environment where I didn't have much, but I had the drive to get an education, the drive to make something of myself, the sense to understand that this will be my means of transportation. Knowledge is what our economics were built on. But I'm here today not to discuss simply education, but also 2 other very important issues in our world currently affecting everyone we know, including ourselves: healthcare and the state of our economy. Now, Governor Romney was running around the primary saying he would veto the DREAM Act, the Development, Relief, and Education for Illegal Minors, the same act that would provide permanent residency for undocumented persons that were brought here as minors and graduated from high schools in this country, relief for those that served in the American military, and the mode of transportation that would have benefited individuals like my father significantly. The same man that said he favored the idea of self-deportation, then after the primaries, changed his whole tone on immigration. According to PolitiFact, it's a political checking fact website, after the governor stated he would veto the act, he then said he was in favor of legal immigration and wanted to protect it. I don't think I've ever seen a person play hopscotch that well since kindergarten. The only truth of the matter is that our children need education, without the fear of being here 1 minute, then physically gone the next. I thought at one point all of our forefathers were immigrants that migrated to this place we now call home. The truth is, over 1.7 million eligible documented immigrants could benefit tremendously from this policy, allowing them access to work in the country. But this doesn't happen unless people make it to the polls. The biggest concern this year, according to the Pew Research Center, is how many individuals will actually turn out to vote. Change first starts at the ground level, then works its way up Miami. Earlier this year, Mr. Romney spoke at the home of an Ameritrade executive in your state of Florida, where he stated 47% of Americans, which group includes elderly pensioners, students, the working poor, as well as some millionaires, don't pay federal income tax. He believes this group of people lack personal responsibility because they might take advantage of similar tax breaks that Mr. Romney himself has benefited from, and paying 0 to 15% in taxes, which save him about $10 million at least annually. Governor Romney believes they do not have to take care of their lives because they haven't set up 100 million trust funds for their children, like he has from the tax dollars saved using federal tax breaks. So according to Mr. Romney, the poor nurse home aide who takes 2 buses to work a 12-hour shift, earning $10 an hour in order to provide for 3 children is a deadbeat. Taking this review a bit further, let us check out some of the differences between my economic plan and Governor Romney's. For starters, he said at the debate this past week, he planned to lower the federal deficit by cutting federal funding to programs we have to borrow money from China to pay for, mentioning PBS. Only the Public Broadcasting Service is a nonprofit broadcasting television network, and that funding he referred to are actually subsidies. Subsidies that don't even constitute 1% of federal funding. The truth is, killing off the subsidies that provide educational programming and other content to households that can't afford private networks won't save the budget. If we're trying to shrink the deficit, we need to eliminate tax cuts on upper class individuals that already make over the nation's average income, not provide loopholes that allow millionaires to get away with paying lower tax rates. This presidential election is about moving forward. Forward, America. The propositions for the economy that Mr. Romney proposes, they have been implemented before. And if they didn't work then, how can they work now? Even when it comes to issues as significant as health care, Governor Romney doesn't understand how patients would benefit more from the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Instead, he wants to voucherize your healthcare system. They call it privatizing. But what that really means for individuals on Medicare and Medicaid is more out-of-pocket cost on top of co-pays. According to Governor Romney, if a senior chooses more expensive plans, then it's their prerogative. They have to pay the difference between the support amount and the premium cost. Then the catchphrase Republicans often use to support this policy is that it won't impact anyone over 55 years and older. But if this was as good as they suggest, then why would those that are 55 and older have to even worry? The only thing Mr. Romney fails to understand is that just because his policies might not affect those nearing retirement doesn't mean that our seniors want it to affect their members, their family members, or their friends. That gives us a little hint that this policy may not be for everyone, not even the majority of individuals in this country. On his first day in office, Governor Romney mentioned he planned to issue an executive order that paved the way for federal government to issue CARE Act waivers on all 50 states. He then plans to work with Congress to repeal the full legislation as quickly as possible. As healthcare plans that ensure 100% of Americans are covered by health insurance and taken care of in the best way possible. How can you get better than that? The Affordable Care Act stretches the bracket for Medicaid and Medicare individuals. It provides insurance based on a sliding scale, while ensuring those who have recently lost their health care through unemployment, small business employments, are still insured almost immediately. Governor Romney is trying to repeal this protection. To back it up with what? A system essentially based on limited protection, or more like no satisfaction guarantee. A system that he claims will block grant Medicaid and other payments to states, limit government protection, and ensure not even half the things that are already granted to Americans through the Affordable Care Act, meaning Americans would be lesser and not better off. In the first 2 years of my administration, we found one of the most treacherous leaders and one of the largest militant terrorist organizations and ended the Iraq War. So the methods have always been effective, but it's a matter of time. Like my good friend Mr. Bill Clinton said, in the course of 52 years, Republicans fostered 24 million jobs, while Democrats went on to create 42 million. It's not because it's a magic pixie dust or giving financial tax cutbacks for those who already have healthy backup plans. It's because advancing equal opportunity and economic empowerment turned out to be both morally right and good economics. It takes time to get back to a full 100% recovery. But before I came in office, the economy was losing over 700,000 jobs. a month. And now we've seen 31 consecutive job growth monthly and 4.6 new private sector jobs. The entire goal of our administration has been moving forward. Forward in education so our children are the next doctors and lawyers. Forward in our systems of healthcare so insurance companies aren't abusing patients while providing individuals the quality care they need. Not backward into more debt or greater economic turmoil. Not firing teachers when they already received the short end of the social stick. When I passed the Wall Street reform, increasing regulations on big banks in corporate America, it was a way to ensure our country never faced an economic collapse like the one we're fighting out now. To ensure there would never be a need for bailouts for big banks ever again, or at least not while I'm in office. Mr. Romney hasn't only promised to repeal this reform, but also to enhance these banks, allowing them to write their own rules. He is for regulation, less of it. The main thing that led us in this predicament now. So after he plans to hack away $800 billion from Medicaid, he then wants to roll back regulations on organizations that played the most significant factor in one of our nation's worst economic collapses. Maybe the 47% of Americans he referred to will be the ones that feel the brunt of his decisions if he makes office. Don't get me wrong, Miami. I think Mr. Romney is a wonderful man, an intelligent man, a man that may probably even love what he does, but certainly not the leader of this country. Not a man that knows what we need and how we intend to get there. Not someone who is pressing on head first. A direction we have already been headed in thus far. Rather, someone with traditional ideology and practices. If America were a tradition, I'd hate to think what my chances would have been in the last presidential campaign. This country has illustrated progression since early on, although at times slower than others, but always advancing given the chance. While our economy faced one of the most severe economic collapses since the Great Depression in 1929, our administration is rebuilding slowly but surely. In time, I imagine, and better than it once was, as we reshape the economy from the middle class out. The deficit of this country wasn't worked on overnight, and it certainly won't be erased in one either. Thank you.